KWJJ HD2 Portland, 1080 The Fan.
You just exposed yourself as a horrible person.
You do your best. An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Sports Center is brought to you by Big's Chicken. Try their smoked and fried wings, tossed with the perfect dry rub and served with a killer trio of sauces. Menus at bigschicken.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers are back in action tonight, continuing their homestand against the Brooklyn Nets. No Jeremy Grant or Matisse Thybulle. They're both out with injuries. Denny Avdia is questionable. He has a sprained ankle. Blazers are 6-point favorites. Tip-off at 7. The Oregon Ducks men's basketball team jumped up 2 spots in the AP 25 college basketball poll. They're now 13th in the country. The top 5 are as follows. Auburn at number 1, Iowa State, Duke, Alabama, and Florida round out the top 5. Over in the NFL, Broncos QB Bo Nix revealed Monday that he played the back half of his rookie year with 3 transverse process fractures in his back. This injury is not expected to affect Nick's career long term. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Match the
Welcome in. We were just taking a trip down memory lane here.
Some good old commercials.
Yeah. Our boss, Jeff Austin, was in here, and we were talking about commercials because I found this guy on Instagram who's a comedian. I'll probably have to send this to Ortner so he can pull it and we can play the audio later.
Yes.
Because there was a comedian just in Portland, and he ripped an incredible ad for a company that I don't think he even knows. But it took us back down the road of the Red House furniture store, which when that came into the 1080 The Fan orbit was when I was producing Primetime with Isaac and Suk. And the Red House is where white people and black people buy furniture.
Still a thing, apparently.
Hopefully. I don't know. It's a really old commercial, but
I don't think it's that old though. I mean, it's old, but it's not. We're not talking about civil rights movement.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that what the ad actually says?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's a real ad.
Yeah. It's got to
by
be
a
in the
local
system.
person.
No, it's in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
You can look it up in the system. We probably still have Red House, but their jingle is at the Red House, where white people and black people buy furniture. And it was a very catchy jingle that they had. And it was, golly, that was 15 years ago that this thing got posted. They have 7.9 million views on YouTube for a furniture store in North Carolina. How about that?
I mean, it works.
Yeah.
It's the guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
And there's certain points, like the audio of it is incredible, but the actual video, like there's one part where one of the people just kind of like finishes what he's saying, and you can see him like look off screen, like, are we good?
Yeah.
And there's
that's Big Head.
Yeah.
That's Big Head, who's black and loves moving furniture into people's homes.
Yes. And then as he finishes that, he kind of like, you see him like look off camera, like to.
Was that good?
The director,
Did we do
like, we good here? And there's no editing. There's no, it's just there. Instead of
here, play it. Play this here real quick.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's the simplicity of it all.
Yeah. You got it? I thought you said you have it. Play it.
Can't we all just get along?
At the Red House Furniture,
We can.
At the Red House. What? This is a good commercial.
I'm Richard, a.k.a. Big Head. I work at the Red House, and I'm black. I like pumping iron and pumping furniture into people's homes.
10 gauge, here it comes.
I'm Johnny, aka 10 gauge. I work at the Red House and I'm white. I like deer hunting, bass fishing, and extending credit to all people.
At the Red House.
I'm black and I love the Red House.
I'm white and I love the Red House.
I'm a black woman.
Brings
and I
everybody
love
together.
The Red House.
I am white, and the Red House
White.
is for me.
It is for me.
Red House.
What a great commercial.
This is where Step Brothers got Prestige
Look at
Worldwide
the
from.
sofa. It's perfect for a black person or a white person.
or all
This mattress is perfect for a white person or a black person.
At the Red House, where black people and white people buy furniture.
Buy furniture.
And Hispanic people, too.
Yeah. So that commercial is now 15 years old.
Oh, that's that last and Hispanic people too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God.
So we were we
Can
were
you imagine this commercial being made today?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a unifying
Oh
commercial.
God.
I mean, I think they would have to include all races and ethnicities now. But I think 15 years ago, we got the point that it's a furniture store for everybody in North Carolina, apparently. I was floored the first time I saw that. And boy, the Red House really took over these airwaves for quite some time after that. It is really odd, the things that will catch fire with our listeners and our hosts for that matter. But the Red House was, at one point, the Red House unknowingly sponsored the club.
There you go. Brought to you by the Red House.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it did.
There are some
Racial unity.
There's some pretty good ads. Have you guys heard Dr. Snip?
No.
This is an
I
ad
think I know where
that
this is going.
this is an ad that was playing
Is it coupons?
on 910. Would you like to hear it?
Duh.
This is an ad for all those guys who are happily married to lovely wives and want to increase their intimacy. Fellas, let's talk about vasectomy. Dr. Snip
No.
has you covered. Once you're done, perform uncovered. After this, you're the ultimate lover, and you got Snip because you love her. Easy to schedule. Real quick, a single appointment does the trick. Trust me, it's worth the trip. Just take a drive over to Dr. Snip. Dr. Snip accepts all major insurances, including Medicaid.
Really? That was on
That was on 910.
That was on 910?
That used to play on Pilot Games, and it would make me laugh.
Yo, that's pretty good. Also, it's only thing
See,
it's missing is it's they should have the last part of that should have been the producer tag.
That yeah. DJ Khaled right at the end of it. Another one. Wow. I didn't know that was a thing. That's incredible.
I have it permanently saved. It's in a folder. got
I
it.
could see you had that real quick to bring up. Holy guacamole. All right. I don't know. That's a start to a show. Rust is out, if you guys couldn't gather that by the fact that Will Ortner's over there. The gunk is going around. Russ got sick. I think it was the power of his hair.
Thought you were talking about Dr. Snip again.
No. I think it was the power of his hair. He came in clean shaven yesterday, and nothing left to catch all those germs. So he ended up going to get it. Yeah, like here we go. Outrageous audio. That guy tweet us for $1. That guy was awesome.
Yeah, I mean he's still the Rip City Remix got him to do their calendar release,
Sweet.
their schedule release this year.
Oh
And
yeah,
it was,
I remember that. That
it
was
was
good.
incredible.
Tom Peterson and Glorious
Glorious
2. Yeah, that was a good one. Well, and then we have Subaru had the Trunk Monkey. Remember those?
Yes, that was from here. It was Lithia, wasn't it?
No, it was Suburban.
Was Suburban Auto Group? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what
But
it was.
I know it was one of the. It originated from the Northwest, and then it went to the national ads.
Yeah, the Trunk Monkey was incredible. It was like
It was a Super Bowl.
I think
ad.
it won Ad of the Year.
I think it won multiple ads of the year.
But that was really good. That was local.
We haven't had a good beer commercial in a while.
No. Well, I mean, there's nothing that I think they just stopped after Ray.
Gillis's aren't bad.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, no, honestly,
Wait,
that's
Gillis
yeah.
doing the
He's doing
Fireball?
Bud Light. No, he's doing Bud Lights.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
wait,
he did
who's-
the sharing a secret one.
Yeah,
That
it's
one's-
with his buddy Gerby.
that one's pretty good.
And then the other one where he's like accidentally in a cologne commercial and the cologne guy ends up at the bar.
Yeah.
Those are funny.
Is it
Yeah, but those aren't as. I mean, this isn't
Stavros and Santor
Santino and Stavros
Santino and
Halkias.
Stavros. They do the Fireball
Yes,
ads.
Those are
with the
good.
Shaved
That's
eyebrows.
okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. What we need though is like those are all national ads. We need local jingles back. Like
Yes.
local jingles. Are great.
Jingles. It's you see it like on like TikTok and
Mhm.
and reels and stuff like that. The Colts guy. Remember the Colts?
Oh yeah, the Colt song guy.
the
Yeah.
Colts song guy.
Yeah.
It's so terrible, but guess what? It absolutely lives rent free forever. Jingles are still like the yeah. That
Fan
guy.
of the year.
He was at their last game of the year, I think.
He was the fan of the year. They honored him.
As they should. No, I mean, no other fans making songs every week for their opponent.
Yeah.
Telling the Broncos who the real horsies are of the NFL.
Unbelievable.
That guy rocks, dude.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to know if it's real.
Seth?
Like no, like if that person is actually that person or if it's all a bit.
Good question.
I
assume
lean
they're
towards
real.
I
I
lean
think
towards it
he's-
being real.
I think he's real.
Which
I think most are fake, but that one seems very real.
which is why it hurts so much to watch.
Oh, we went different ways with that
Mm.
because I was like, that's why it's awesome to watch.
I followed him for football season.
Did you?
He's unfollowed now.
All 17 weeks you got him?
Well, I got to hear the new hits.
Well, wait till you get the draft one. Ooh, yeah. George Moreland's got a good one. The Water Heater King.
Oh, yeah. They also just kind of like own the water heater game in general.
Well,
Like,
I've said
quick-
this before.
Quick, think of another water heater store.
Well, I don't.
Good luck.
But
Grover?
if you go, like, if you go there with any, like, I have had the bet. I will drive to Tigard
Mhm.
from Hillsboro, where I live, and I will drive there if I have any plumbing questions because they're awesome. God, here are free ads here.
No, you're not wrong.
They're
because-
great customer
because,
service.
Well, they're people who actually work in the industry.
yeah,
Like that's the thing. It's like, and again, like
like I
those
went.
local jingle been around like
Mm-hmm.
the old timey Ace Hardware store. Like not the pop ups that are all everywhere now, but like the people that worked in there, and the guy in there is like 75 years old,
Like-
and he was a handyman for
Like
50
how it
years.
used to be, like Dale's True Value.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And you're like, and you'd go in there and talk to Dale,
Yeah, that's right.
or Dale's son,
That's right.
or Dale's dirtbag brother-in-law.
My other brother Dale.
Yeah.
My brother Daryl. My other brother Daryl, and my other brother
Yeah.
Daryl.
But yeah, those mom and pops, the jingles that it's a bummer. We were talking about this the other
Yeah.
day with the local burger place. There's no like local like it's all chains now. There's
Yeah.
there's no local burger spot really anymore.
Well, there are. There's
There's
a
not-
lot of them.
No, there's not.
Are you talking fast food?
No, I'm talking about like the mom and pop like
I will give you Redland Cafe, Carver Hangar, Helvetia Tavern. Stanish's is gone, but they renamed it. They kind of had a pseudo rebrand.
Would
to something.
Burgerville count in that?
no.
No.
But Burgerville is
No.
local. It was created local.
There's some we actually have really good local burger places. We do, and I think we take that one for granted. Was it Giant? And then you have the one. What's the one over off of Capitol Highway there? Somebody's gonna go.
Oh, don't get me
there.
wrong. There's good burger places here, but I'm talking like the traditional like drive-in style mom and pop. Don't get me wrong. Like we've got some like the burger game in Portland. is
Mike's
strong.
Drive-In. Mike's.
Where's that at?
They have one in Oregon City, one in Selwood.
Okay.
Yeah. Big-
Two
great
two regions
milkshakes.
that I do not frequent.
Great milkshakes.
Guess I'm going to find out where Selwood is.
Wait, what?
I don't know streets.
Selwood's a neighborhood, man.
You think I know neighborhoods if I don't know streets?
God, that's tough.
I don't even know avenues.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Charburger in Beaverton. You know Charburger. Yeah.
God, is it still
see?
open? I thought they closed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just down the street from my house. I thought it closed for some reason.
All right. Yeah, so we still got some good.
still
You,
got-
you know what we need to do? You just need to be reminded of them, like
Jingles.
in your mind, like in when you brought up like name another water heater place. It's like, well, I don't know. I know the one that has a catchy ass jingle. That's the one that I know because
Hey, Charburger's still around. All right, cool.
they sing it to me on the radios and on the TVs. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, I'm in on it. But to your point, text her on Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. It's not like back in the day. I think we've all just been programmed. Like they're still there. We're just all programmed to go to the places that, like, instead of going to one of the local places, you're programmed to go to Shake Shack, Five Guys,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that there's actual levels to, like, I guess I don't want to call it the fanciness, but like there's levels to the quality of fast food now.
I'd much rather go to the
fast
mom
food
and pop.
I would too.
Much
I
rather
would
go to the
too.
mom and pop. Somebody brought up
support local. Let's go.
Gem 100 in Newburgh, and that's it's it's staffed by like all of the high school and college kids, but the only downside is it's just packed.
Yeah,
all the time. Then it's more of like the ice cream spot that has food than the food spot that has ice cream.
Yeah,
but it is a nostalgic little place.
Yeah,
rules.
This one comes into Scotty's Drive-In in Forest Grove. That place is good. Like if you want to have like your support the local business. I used to do this all the time when I was a kid with my dad. We'd go to Scotty's Drive-In and then we go to Fry's Athletics. It was like the only athletic store around. So you'd go to
Wait, was this is it
it's
part
like a
of the
sporting goods store.
Was it the same chain as the Fry's Electronics?
It's not a chain. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
a chain at all.
Because Fry's, if you remember the Wilsonville Electronics store, they're grocery stores and more, or they were in like Arizona and I want to say San Diego.
Oh,
it was a weird breakup. But
Weird.
when you said Fry's, that was the first thing I thought of. Was
No, this is just a sporting goods store. Just your local spot.
That's what doesn't happen anymore. Is the standalone
Right?
sporting goods store.
I
Like,
miss
that's-
Athlete's Corner.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what that is, but
That's a Vancouver thing. You got to come to our side of the river.
Yep.
Ooh,
Is Play It Again still open?
Yes.
probably mostly on the internet. Yeah,
Right.
Probably mostly
But
on the
that
internet.
was like that was a.
It's called eBay.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Alf's in McMinnville. There's a little burger place right next to Linfield's campus. They have a monkey.
Not anymore.
What?
Monkey's gone.
What?
Yeah,
Monkey's gone?
wife and I went out there beginning of the summer.
R.I.P. Monkey.
So we never go
Alf.
like further west
Yeah.
from Newburgh. So we're like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go to McMinnville and go see what's out there.
Dang.
And we hit that place up one weekend, and then there's a brewery there that's
Yeah.
got some pretty good food. But
Oh, all right.
that's kind of what I had in my mind was that spot.
Yeah.
And that the burger there is so covered in butter, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Like the bun, the burger, everything about it. Love
It's
it.
great. People are saying like old sporting goods stores. So the only two locals that I know, and look, local sporting goods stores, they're awesome.
Mhm.
Bashers is another great one.
Oh, yeah,
in Portland. They're still here. They're still
the Lake O one's
over on
gone,
the
right?
east side. I don't know if they're still in Lake O. Don't venture that way very often. But Bashers was great. That's where I got my Letterman sweater.
Really?
Yeah.
You went sweater, huh?
Mm-hmm. I went sweater. Did not go jacket. Went Letterman sweater.
Ours was everybody went to a spot in Beaverton.
Yeah.
Athlete's Corner for
Well,
us.
there was only one place that you could get a Letterman sweater, and it was Bashers because they could do it all. And so I went sweater. It was a bold move, but I'm happy with my decision. I'm very happy with my decision.
It appears that yes, the only one that is left is the one on Interstate.
Hot dang! All right. Well,
that's where I got my baseball gear from. I remember getting my mitts there.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that
You
great?
go down there, you spend a lot of time picking out that mitt.
Yeah, that's where I got my Nakona. Got a just awesome baseball glove.
There you go.
All right, there's something special about picking out your baseball glove. That's like more of a summer topic of like the rites of passage. Picking out your baseball glove is one of them.
Yeah, you had to make sure you get the right player model.
That's what you went with?
A2K, baby.
About back then, yeah.
It was, I remember it was a whole deal. It was about quality, longevity, because once you hit like 11 or 12, you could use that glove
For a couple
like
years.
you could use it for the rest of your life. Because you're getting a full-size glove at that point,
Unless
right?
you're me with little tiny hands.
And why would that matter? Wouldn't that mean that you have
I had to grow into mine.
Huh?
I had small hands.
Well, yeah. So you would use like your 10-year-old glove for the rest of your life.
I was a little man.
Yeah, but you could get your good glove. So it was all about, could you bend it? How long does it break in? Heart of the hide was a big one when you're getting a Rawlings glove. Like baseball gloves are awesome.
And then the process that you use to break in.
Oh, yeah.
The tried and true family methods.
Well, absolutely. And if part of your family method is not putting a baseball in the glove, rubber banding it up, and then putting it under your mattress, something's wrong with you. And just sleeping horrible for an entire night. But you know what?
Your hip is completely up. But
you wake up the next morning and you couldn't be more excited after that horrible night of sleep.
Because that mitt's starting to shake, baby.
All right. Hey, sports show. Let's get to it. We got
we're sports adjacent.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We talk sporting goods. We got a lot of stuff that we need to get to. Where we got to start this bad boy off is Wild Card Weekend is officially over, and boy did it end with a thud. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Wild card weekend ended with the third last night as the Rams beat up on the Vikings 27-9 in Arizona.
Not like this, Vikings. Not like this.
Sam Darnold reverted back to Sam Darnold. And that
was
sucks.
it his fault entirely?
Yes. Well, mostly. But here's the thing. I thought Sam Darnold was the best story in the NFL this year. I really did.
He's up there for sure.
Him being a guy that came in to the season with, he was going to be backing up a rookie and just to try to hang on and be around in the NFL. J.J. McCarthy goes down, and he is inserted in that starting role and leads that team to a 14-3 record and played outstanding football for long stretches of that year. I mean, he was really good for long stretches of the season. Most of the season, he was really damn good. It does suck that the last two games that we will remember of Sam Darnold is back to old Sam Darnold, that everybody kind of thought he was as a quarterback because of how fun it was to watch him for most of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it was. You're going to remember the last two games because those are the lasting impacts because of how it wasn't just it was bad, of how bad it was. I mean, the whole seeing ghosts thing, you saw it play out, except they weren't ghosts. They were like real manifestations of people as they absolutely pummeled him over and over and over again. The Rams have 9 sacks. They have 6 different players who registered at least one whole sack. Chris Shula just dialed it up from everywhere. I mean, it was basically just, it was very reminiscent of what we saw, 2 weeks ago when the Lions did the same thing.
Yeah.
They didn't have a secondary because everybody was beat up, and you saw Aaron Glenn basically push the Engage 8 button over and over and over again.
Well, last night it was different, though, because Mina Kimes had this, and I was watching the game going, I mean, they're not really doing anything that exotic as far as how many bodies they're bringing. They were just doing a lot of twists, stunts, pressure coming from different spots. Mina Kimes had this. The top 3 quarterbacks in quick pressure rate this weekend. So the guys who faced pressure the quickest in Wild Card weekend. Would you take a guess on who they were?
Go on.
Well, you're not going to guess?
No.
Oh,
No.
Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
Justin Herbert. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love also makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Sam Darnold faced the quickest pressure on only 10% of his dropbacks, which was 10th of 12 quarterbacks.
Huh.
Yeah.
So is he holding the ball or guys not getting open?
Well, there was a little bit of both, right? Bo Nix, by the way, was 11th. Baker Mayfield was 12th in that. But that's where you go. Either a lot of it was on Sam Darnold, because I will often give offensive lines a ton of credit and say, look, most of the time, half of the sacks are not the offensive line's fault. It's the quarterback's fault too. And in that game, you get sacked 9 times. 9 times. Obviously, the offensive line did not have a great day. But at the same time, you look at it and you go, well, if you want to be honest about what Sam Darnold was doing as he was sitting back in the pocket, it was he got antsy. There was times where he was panicking. And then a big part of it is not identifying pre-snap where pressure would be coming from, right? Like that's what quarterbacks get paid the big bucks for in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of people are saying Sam Darnold lost himself a lot of money.
What changed?
In the last 2 weeks?
For the last 2 weeks because it wasn't like he was just game managing his way to production. Like there were games all season long where he was good, where he won them games.
Pressure. I think pressure has a lot to do with it. I honestly do, because he was afforded the ability all season long to play loose and free, right?
Yeah.
And it was like
no expectation.
You're playing with house money. And then the last 2 weeks of the season where you have home
division
field
title.
advantage throughout the playoffs and division title on the line against Detroit, and then you have a playoff game. I thought really the tone setter from the Los Angeles Rams was the opening drive, where they go down 7 plays, 70 yards, just dice through this Vikings defense that has been really stinking good. And they basically said, it's a playoff game. We're going to put the pressure on Sam Darnold to beat us. And the Vikings went 3 and out really quickly. Then LA gets back on the field, and they end up getting a field goal, and Minnesota's defense starts to settle in a little bit. But you're in a 10-0 hole, and the game just started, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're 10 minutes into the game. You're down 10-0. And so at that point, I was like, yeah.
Now it's getting ramped up.
Now that pressure just starts suffocating you a little bit more. And look, Minnesota responded with the field goal. If that Matthew Stafford flip forward that was ruled a fumble and was a scoop and score, if that gets over, if that stays the scoop and score, I think that game looks a lot totally different.
Probably because the pressure kind of flips on its head.
You're at 10-10 at that point. You're at 10-10, and how much better are you feeling about it being in a 10-10 game where Sam Darnold can all of a sudden relax and breathe a little bit and say, all right, my defense bailed me out. I'm going to be okay. Well, as the game went on, the pressure got more and more, and you saw Sam Darnold just didn't perform very well, and he cost himself a lot of money, man.
Yeah, I mean, $50 million a year is out the window. I mean, some team might talk themselves into it.
No, but I also think that wouldn't be in the best interest of Sam Darnold either, because there's got to be a level of awareness with Sam Darnold from the stops that he's been at and everything he's gone through, that I'm not the guy who's going to make, $20 or $30 million a year. 10 to 15 a year, but be on an amazing roster. That's where you're going to succeed with Sam Darnold.
You hope he's smart enough.
Now you're looking at it and you're saying, what does it look like for Sam Darnold, where the two most pressure-filled games of the season, he's unable to win?
Well, I mean, God, the number of texts I got last night. Hey, how do you like your new Raiders quarterback?
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, they're not wrong. That's
not going to go well.
It's an improvement over AOC, but is that the path they should go down? That's a topic for a different day. But I mean, it makes the decision pretty simple for the Vikings, where they're going to go.
And I mean, this is where Sam Darnold thrived. He had one of, if not the best receiver in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He had a budding star, not superstar, in Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. He has
Aaron Jones,
a really good running back in Aaron Jones. Like, you want to talk about weapons, he was surrounded with them, right? And this was the same Darnold that we got. He's going to need that level of support around him to thrive in the NFL moving forward. And that was a tough way to go. But with all of those weapons that we just said, there's something that has to be said about this Rams team, because what they did was inspired. We'll get to that after Will with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
SportsCenter is brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club. Good or bad weather, the golf course is always the driest around. Download the Langdon Farms app today to get all the latest news and specials. First on The Fan, the Dallas Cowboys have started the early stages of their coaching search. They were not able to reach a deal with former coach Mike McCarthy. Colorado head coach Deion Sanders has been a rumored candidate for the job. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Jones and Sanders spoke on the phone Monday about the possibility of Sanders coming to Dallas. Elsewhere in the NFL, Broncos QB Bo Nix revealed Monday that he played the back half of his rookie year with 3 transverse process fractures in his back. The injury is not expected to affect Nix's career long-term. Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond announced that he's leaving school early and will enter the 2025 NFL Draft. Bond is the 6th wide receiver on ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr.'s Big Board. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Hot Corner, now in
missing all the conversation about Sam Darnold costing himself a lot of money was just how dang good the Rams looked last night. And look, when they have to go to Philly and they have to go on the road and maybe not be riding the emotional wave that they are right now, that looked like a Rams team, especially on the defensive side, that looked like they were just playing loose, free, and I don't. This is corny, but like for something bigger, right? Like how much everything that was going around in L.A. and the fact that they got uprooted. And did you see the timeline that they popped up on the pregame show on ESPN on Countdown?
No,
it was like Thursday. Fire start near facility. Practice shortened. Like players evacuated. All of a sudden, like the call to action, how everything happened with getting the game moved. By Friday, Thursday, a fire starts near their facility. By Friday,
games got moved.
The entire team, their families, their pets are on planes to go to Phoenix. They have a shortened practice. By Saturday, they are back to full practice. Everything is business as usual. Sunday is like, all right, We've already sold 52,000 tickets to this game in 2 hours in Arizona.
36,000 were Rams fans, the season ticket holders.
It was nuts to see just how quickly it all came together. Like, just think logistically of what it took to move a game completely from Thursday to Monday. Operations, everything.
You got to get people working in that building. Like, there's a lot of. You got to make sure the field's ready to go because otherwise you wouldn't have a field ready to go because Cardinals aren't playing.
Cardinals came up huge in this. The Bidwell family actually came up really big, and they're billionaires. They got the money, but like to make it as homey as possible, like they matched all the paints on the field. They lined their practice field as close to what the Rams have theirs done as they possibly can. Like. They went above and beyond to make sure that this game went off. And when you see how well the Rams played, my goodness, man.
Yeah.
And they're getting performances from guys that you just would not expect because, remember, Les Snead went F them picks. This past year, Jared Verse was the first-round pick since Jared Goff in 2016. This roster's built with a bunch of dudes that are second, third, fourth-round picks. And they're thriving right now.
Yeah, no, you look at the impact from the counting stats alone. Again, they end up with 9 sacks, 10 TFLs. And you look at it, you've got Neville Gallimore, which that sounds like somebody who's knighted from England.
Harry Potter character, Neville Longbottom.
Byron Young, who okay. Michael Hoke, you're like, okay. Kobe Turner, like you just kind of go down the list and you're like, guys that you don't expect to pop up on this, and it's just up and down the list of the impact from the front. Braden Fisk, who's been probably their most dominant defensive lineman this year, was the one that registered probably the least in the counting statistics last night. And yet up and down the defensive roster, you just had contribution after contribution after contribution.
He's a rookie second-round pick.
Yeah. And a teammate of Jerry Verse.
That's crazy, man. Like, think of like Kyron Williams was a 5th-round pick, Puka Nacua 5th-round pick, Steve Avila, their interior offensive lineman, 2nd-round pick, Bo Limmer, offensive lineman, 6th-round pick, Fisk 2nd-rounder, Kobe Turner's a 3rd-rounder, Byron Young 3rd-rounder, Kobe Durant 4th-rounder. Kobe Durant, did they They stumble into that one because there's no way they have Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant in one name. Holy smokes. Quentin Lake, 6th-round pick. Cameron Kitchens, 3rd-round pick. Jalen McCullough, undrafted. Yeah. That's 12 players that are playing significant roles for the Rams.
Impact football.
That they did it with one guy who's a 1st-round pick in Jared Verse over the last 3 years. That is incredible. And then you see the mix of talent that they get with guys like Matthew Stafford, who's sitting there and showing you still got it. Yeah. You know, Cooper Kupp still got it. I mean, it's incredible what the Rams are doing.
No, and Matthew Stafford, like 19 to 27, 209, 2 touchdowns. It's not the best game you've ever seen anybody play. And if you look at the team stats and the drive summary type stuff, they're 2 of 9 on 3rd downs. Yeah. Like it wasn't like they were masterful offensively, but there was 3 throws that Matthew Stafford made that one of them was to convert a third down where the blitz is in his face. He gets smacked around, layers it over the linebacker. They do the dive in slow-mo camera, and you see the linebacker spin and reach back, and the ball clears his finger by like maybe a half an inch. And you're like, okay. And it drops right in the tight end's hands, right in front of the safety and for a first down. And you just go, and Aikman, this is like a summary of what he said. He's like, look, you can talk about quarterback play in the NFL and the level that it's at and blah, blah, blah. There's 3 or 4 guys in the entire league that can make that throw, and he's one of them. He threw all of the scheme and all the other stuff. It's like, no, there's just some guys that most guys can't make that throw. He can. Yep. And that's what that play was. And you just kind of went, whew, it's not your day, Vikings. It's just not your day.
Well, I mean, think of, like, this text, Vancouver Forward text line, coaching and GM matters. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And Sean McVay is done an incredible job. There's a reason why, like, everybody that is on a staff with Sean McVay, people want to hire, including Kevin O'Connell, right? Raheem Morris goes and he gets another head coaching job, so they have to bring in Chris Shula, who's a linebackers coach, and he's a first-year defensive coordinator. Defense comes up absolutely enormous in the biggest game of the year
all season.
But that matters. The compatibility between Les Snead and Sean McVay to evaluate talent and say, like, it's circulating now, the McVay saying we're going to nail this 5th-round pick. It was Puka Nacua. Yeah, you nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty dang good. They do a really good job of evaluating guys that fit in the scheme, in the system, in what their roster needs the most, and you can find those gems in the later rounds of the draft. They do an incredible job at that, and they've done it several years. Like, they're stacking these drafts back to back to back. They lost Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
The most dominant defensive lineman
maybe ever.
Yeah. And they're like, we'll just go win a playoff round. Like, okay.
We'll go get this 2nd-round kid from Florida State named Braden Fisk, and he's going to be a guy that commands double teams every single snap. It's like, okay. The thing is, and I think this is true, I was having the discussion, was it Saturday night, the Blazers game, just talking about, like, the connection between front offices and coaching staffs on identifying talent and, like, fits. And we were talking about it in the as it relates to styles in sports and how some of that is dying. The Rams, you take a look at Puka Nacua, I think specifically, personifies what they want. Like, they weren't out to try to get the next A.J. Brown. They weren't trying to get the next Justin Jefferson. Like, they said, hey, this guy is a good route runner, but what he does with the ball afterwards, and it's with speed, it's with power. He's a running back in the open field. He seeks contact. He gets yak yards not through, creating separation, but by playing physically. And that's the style that we want to employ. And they identify, like, a group of traits. And they say, we can work with X, Y, and Z. Hey, they don't have A or B, but they do have these. And within, like, and that's how you find these things that work. And it's like the style of the Rams makes sense. Like, if I asked you, like, what is kind of personified the Rams over the last 8 years since these guys have been working together, and it's, you want to say the McVay stuff as far as, like, the offensive genius, but they've been built through physical play.
Yeah, I think where they probably changed the most is that when you have a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, you mentioned 2 throws that he made, but it's that game control, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's identifying what is going to happen so you're not in trouble pre-snap and post-snap. That alleviates so much, and you can mask so much more of it. Like, they would not be this team with Jared Goff, and that's not a shot at Jared Goff, but because look where Jared Goff is. He's the number 1 overall seed. He is going to be the guy that is hosting the Commanders this week. And with Matthew Stafford, you have a guy that he's that doctor who can make sure he's like the ER doctor, right? Triage, making sure all the major bleeding stops and then get you to a spot where then you can facilitate and distribute, because Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, 2 very good receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Higbee, who apparently he got hit in the chest. He was coughing up blood.
Ooh.
Traveled home with the team, and McVay said he expects him to play on Sunday.
I mean, if you're making the flight, he's okay, because if you're coughing up blood and it's a lung thing and you're not going to go to 30,000 feet.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But those guys aren't the game breakers that you see, like I don't know, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams and Sam Laporta, and the list goes on and
Like
on.
guys that are like first, second, third best in their
Right.
position in the league.
And how quickly they've turned over the offensive line, which was the biggest issue for them, right? They've done an incredible job, but having Stafford there really smooths everything over.
I mean, think about that team real quick and like what they've lost in Whitworth and in Aaron Donald. Like you just kind of like anchors and pillars of your franchise.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and just keep it moving. That is pretty insane. I know Les Snead is talked about as a good general manager. He's not given nearly the credit he should be, considering what they have built and how long this run has gone on for.
No doubt about it. Huge win for the Los Angeles Rams. And now they go back and kind of reality sets in. They don't know where they're going to practice moving forward as they got a trip to Philly to take on the Eagles this Sunday. I have Philly news. We have Philly news. Big Dom's legend grows next on The Fan. 27-9. Convincing win, 9 sacks. Sam Darnold with the most sack yardage taken since Cam Newton lost 91 yards of sack yardage. 82 yards backwards Sam Darnold went last night. Holy smokes. But in Philly, we know all about Philly fan. They are knuckleheads to the nth degree. Did you see the latest of Philly fan over the weekend and what they were up to?
No. What shenanigans we have now?
So there was video of a Packer fan and his wife were up in like the nosebleeds.
Oh, yes, I did see
And
this.
there was a fan back behind, like when something bad happened for the Packers, or they were close to getting a first down, but they didn't get it. There's a fan who obviously he'd been in their ear all game long, and he repeatedly calls this guy's wife the C word, like over
the fact
and
that
over
he
again.
was still conscious at the end of that video was of a shock to me.
And I think that it had to do with like the guy's buddies and the Packer fan probably knowing he was outnumbered because his wife was just like, don't do anything. Don't do anything. But the guy recorded it and he put it on social media. He's like, hey, can we find this guy? Well,
and by the way, the guy that took this video has a podcast with like 60,000 followers on it. So
yeah.
Useful.
Yeah, it went viral, and leave it to none other than Big Dom, right? Big Dom, Dominic DeSandro. Remember him? He's the guy who got thrown off the sidelines after he got in the middle of Dre Greenlaw and Devontae Smith last year, and they called it the jinx of Big Dom.
He actually did something
curse of Big
cool like 2 weeks ago when Tanner McKee scored his first touchdown. A.J. Brown threw the ball in the stands to a fan and got A.J. Brown to give his game-worn jersey to the guy in exchange for the Tanner McKee ball.
Ooh.
Because
right.
A.J. screwed up throwing away Tanner McKee's first touchdown.
And he felt really bad about that.
he was like, oh, my bad.
He felt really bad about it.
But yeah, Dom was the one who
Big
made
Dom
that happen.
has found the fan in question and has gotten him, like, apparently this dude is kicked out forever. Big Dom has identified the guy and woman involved in this incident. The guy will be banned from future Eagles games. Eagles will be sending the woman Packers gear as an apology. Eagles, once again, showing what a class act organization they are. That from Derek Gunn. Big Dom identified this dude, and now
the whole internet identified the dude and his company. He apparently shut down his own LinkedIn and all of his social media because they found him very quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're going to act like a D-hole like that, realize that you're going to get found very quickly.
Well, calling a woman the C word is
No.
Like, I don't know if there's worse things that you can call.
No.
Well, in America.
Yeah.
Over in
England?
jolly old London town, they throw that word around like it's nothing.
Australians too.
Yeah.
All the time.
But he's been banned from Eagles games.
Yeah,
so
good.
Eagles finally shown a little something. What I found surprising though was that, like, how many Eagles fans were like, this is not a representation of what Eagles fans are.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Stop it.
This is the 18th week of something happening on the internet where you have to say that.
This is like the Giants and Dodgers fans saying that their fan bases aren't sideways and toxic. And I'm like, yeah, you are.
No, we're misunderstood.
No.
I think we understand, and we started getting a pretty good idea when you threw ice balls with batteries in them at Santa Claus. I'm pretty sure that's when we figured it out.
Nothing new here.
Yeah, you guys had a jail in your stadium.
That rocks.
I bet you that place smelled worse than what we smelled at the Commanders at FedEx Field.
Is absolutely, it's a very niche representation, a very bad smell for those that don't know what the two of us smelled.
It was human poop.
It was sewage.
It was. I remember the whole thing about it wasn't sewage leaking in the stadium in Washington. Yeah, it was.
There was a big poop smell.
Ugh.
Well, Philly fans, you did it again. Big Dom to the rescue. The legend of Big Dom grows. All right, 503-864-6326. That be the Vancouver Ford text line. Coming up, hour number 2, we'll talk some hometown team. Big game tonight. This
tank off, baby.
It actually is a big game. This could have serious ramifications moving forward. But where we got to start, when a legend says that your job isn't that great anymore, that's pretty telling. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Well, we're now in the throes of winter.
Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Portland Trail Blazers are back in action tonight. They're continuing their homestand, taking on the Brooklyn Nets. No Jeremy Grant or Matisse Thybulle. They're still out with injuries. Denny Avdia is questionable. He's got a sprained ankle. Blazers are still 6-point favorites. Tip-off at 7. Over in Miami, Jimmy Butler reiterated to Heat President Pat Riley that he wants to be traded in a face-to-face meeting today. Butler's 7-game suspension from the team for detrimental conduct ends on Thursday. Over in college basketball, the Oregon Ducks are having a fantastic season. They just jumped up 2 spots in the AP Top 25 college basketball poll. They're now 13th in the country. The top 5 are as follows: Auburn at 1, Iowa State, Duke, Alabama, and Florida. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Did you score a smart speaker over the holiday? On the Odyssey app and 1080. No! The Fan.
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours, whether it's on 1080 AM, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, or on twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan, or you party animals on YouTube, youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan. Party on, party animals. You sickos on the YouTube chat. How y'all doing? All right. The Dallas Cowboys job is open. And this may be the worst sign of how bad the state of the Cowboys is. Last night, Pro Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, Troy Aikman.
Jay-Z lookalike.
Boy, that picture really does.
Oh, boy. It's one of my favorite bits in TV history is them acknowledging its existence.
Yeah. And he's like, well, yeah, it kind of does. I was surprised by it, too. You know?
Instead of, like, not acknowledging it at all, he's like, yeah.
I mean, not much I can really tell you, except for I kind of do.
Yeah, it does.
He now owns a beer company. Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman went on Monday Night Countdown last night prior to the wild card game between the Rams and the Vikings, and he was asked about this Cowboys job, and this is a long clip, but I think it's worth it when you have one of your all-time greats saying this about your head coaching position now open.
This job's as coveted as any because you're going to run the Dallas Cowboys. In what direction do you think they ought to look?
Well, I thought Mike McCarthy would be the head coach, so this is a bit of a surprise for me today that he's not going to be. And what went into those conversations that Schefter talked about, I'm not exactly sure, but it suggests that there's not a real plan. I mean, and the fact that they haven't had the opportunity to maybe interview a Ben Johnson and some of these others, Aaron Glenn. I think that what Schefter said as far as Kellen Moore being a candidate, that seems logical to me. A guy who has familiarity with the building. He's worked obviously with the Cowboys and with Jerry Jones, and they know each other very well. In fact, when Mike McCarthy got the job, it was told to Mike that Kellen Moore would be the offensive coordinator. So that's how much the Jones family thinks of him. Beyond that, it's hard to imagine. As far as a coveted job, I don't know that that's accurate. I mean, really? I do think the Cowboys are obviously a high-profile team. Whoever is covered or whoever is head coach of that team is certainly going to draw a lot of attention. But I think most football people that take over as a head coach, they want to do it on their terms.
That's fair.
That's hard to do. And it's, if you take a Dan Campbell, for instance, is Dan Campbell if he's with the Dallas Cowboys? It's hard to imagine that he is. It's hard to imagine that a lot of these coaches might be. So I love the Dallas Cowboys. I played there for 12 years. I wish them well, but to say that it's a coveted job, I'm not sure I would necessarily agree with that.
Yikes. Drops it twice in that I'm not sure it's a coveted job because of the way that everything is unfolded. And you think about this, look at the way they've handled this. We talked about this yesterday. They went down one of two paths that don't make the Cowboys look good at all. Either they wanted to keep Mike McCarthy and they couldn't keep Mike McCarthy, or they blocked Mike McCarthy from interviewing for the Bears job, knowing that they didn't want him, and missed out on the opportunity to interview guys like Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn, or if you wanted Matt Nagy or Steve Spagnuolo, the coordinators that had a bye. You missed that opportunity to even interview those guys. So now you're in a spot where you're in no man's land. And then on top of it, you have guys like some of your legends saying, I don't know if this is a coveted job anymore.
No, we've documented over the last 5 years the organizational decisions they've made that have made absolutely no sense. Whether it was paying Zeke or paying Dak or paying CD, like you just go down the list, guys who they paid versus who they didn't, choices that they made over choices they didn't, when it was very clear which way they should go. And they didn't go that way. You're just sitting there going, oh, no, they're going to keep doing this stupid thing. And now you've got an organization where Jerry Jones is, is he the most meddlesome owner in sports now? He has to be.
I mean, that list can be very, very long.
It can,
He's
but
one of them.
He's not. He doesn't have them. Like his meddlesome ways. Previously, the most destructive thing it did was stop a dynasty.
Yeah,
and force Jimmy Johnson out. But it's not like you didn't get something out of it.
I think that's a pretty big one.
But again, it's not like you didn't get something out of it,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So beyond that, it was like, that's Jerry. That's Jerry,
there he is. Cheeky fun.
But their relevancy has ceased to exist for 30 years outside of branding.
Yeah. And just being America's team.
Yes.
Like that's been it. Is that everybody's been told this is America's team, and people have been forced to believe it.
Because they were good when network TV spiked.
Mm-hmm.
That's
well, and the Steelers didn't want to be America's team. I think people forget that.
Yeah, they wanted to go the other way.
They wanted to be
the villain.
Well, no, they just didn't want. They didn't want to be labeled as America's team. So Cowboys were like, "Yeah, we'll take it.
We'll take it."
And that's how it. That's really how it happened.
That's the branding behind it. But
that's how it happened.
So you've not only do you have Jerry, who is old and probably not going to be around forever, but you've got his kids who have been in the same meddling ways and who have reinforced and backed these same decisions. But you don't have
stopped him from drafting Johnny Manziel, at least.
Yeah, there you go. That's fair. But you go down the list of things that not only have they gotten wrong, but now that you have to pay for those sins financially, roster-wise, the things that you are now limited upon doing by signing Dak and signing Zeke and signing C, like you just kind of go down the list and you're just like, does the Diggs deal look any better now? It's like,
well, now I think what's even more concerning, the Dak contract, and we went over this yesterday. I think you're $89 million committed to him against the cap next year, and then I think it's like 68 and then 61. Like, yeah, good luck. And then now the buzz is that Dion is one of the leading candidates for that job. Then you're going to have to get out of the Dak contract, which is, by the way, is going to give you a bunch of dead cap because you're going to trade him, and there'll be dead cap. And then you have to trade up to go and get Shedeur Sanders because the Cowboys are at 12 right now. And
if you're Dion, you can't tell enough teams. You can't tell 5 quarterback needy teams that he's not going to come play for you.
Watch him.
You think he can get it all the way to 12? Because I think they got to get it at least into like 8th.
Well, you know who the other guy is? And this is the most crazy thing when you hear the reasoning. Jason Witten.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Witten, because he was a tight end, and Jerry Jones feels like that he can Dan Campbell this because Dan Campbell was a tight end. Well, why wouldn't Jason Witten be able to? Jason Witten's a high school football coach
and a part-time broadcaster.
He's a high school football coach, gonna go from the sidelines of a private high school to the Dallas Cowboys.
There's no pressure there. There's nothing to deal with there.
Dan Campbell, and like Campbell wasn't nearly the player that Witten was.
No.
But you know what he did? Worked his butt off as an assistant coach to work his way up to the position that he's in. And Witten is just going to go and born on third, think he hit a triple right there because Jerry Jones loves him. Like, I'm worried if I'm a Cowboys fan.
There's no way out here.
Kind of laughing.
Oh no, look, Dion is the funniest timeline.
Yeah.
It is the most it is the most unhinged and funny, obnoxious over like if you think ESPN is cranked up now, wait till that hiring happens.
Well, and you know what? Like this is the most predictable thing of all time though because of the fact that Dion just said I ain't going nowhere, right? You've been sniffing around a couple jobs because those have been widely reported. I think you might be going somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's so dumb, but I mean, and again, they went further on ESPN at halftime. They had Schefter on, as SVP and Kelsey and somebody else, and every single time they talked about the Dion potential, they were like, "Yeah, when he gets there. Yeah, when he gets there. Yeah, when he gets the job." I'm like, "Well, I mean, if if," and it was like they were caveating after the fact, and it just felt like, "Is this done?"
Well, that also makes sense though because it's like. The train wreck of the Dallas Cowboys would totally do it. It makes too much sense.
Yes, and
I think Kelsey's like really hyping that up because he would love to see that as an Eagles guy.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? 100%, 100%. And like I would love to know unfiltered what Troy Aikman thinks of Deion Sanders as the head coach. I would love to know.
Yeah,
as the Cowboys head coach.
I would. I'm here for it.
I would love to know what that looked like when they do the pregame meetings between those two. I mean, come on, you wouldn't want to be in the room for that.
I would.
That'd be fun.
I would. All right. Well, there's your Cowboys update. Goodness gracious almighty. Hey, Blazers actually have a big one tonight. The Brooklyn Nets come to town. Didn't think I'd be saying this, but here we are. 13-25 versus 13-26 in Moda. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. On the court at Moda Center tonight, a 7 o'clock tip. 13-26, the Brooklyn Nets record heading into Moda. 13-25, the Portland Trail Blazers record tonight. This is one of those games that it actually could have some wide-ranging implications as the season goes on. When we look back in May, this could be a game where if the Blazers win, you go, oh, that's the one, right? It's not beating the Nuggets.
No, it's the great suck-off of 2025.
That's what I'm talking about.
We had one last year. We back, baby. We are revisiting the great suck-off of 2024, and it is revived in 2025.
Well,
and that's a lot of what you're going to see here for Portland over the next 2.5 months.
Yeah,
is a great win last night in the Tankathon, as it were, as the Raptors beat the Golden State Warriors. That happened 104-101.
Yikes!
And you're seeing a tightening, as it were, between the truly bad of the NBA. New Orleans at 8 wins, the Trailblazers at 13. That's 5 games.
That is a big chasm, though, when you think of...
It is. But after that, Charlotte is at 8, Toronto at 9, Utah at 10, then Brooklyn and Portland at 13. 4 games. 4 games separate... 5 games separate the number 2 from number 7. 4 separates 4 from 7. So it's a little bit tighter than people think. And the ability to flip a switch, if there is something that this organization has done post-All-Star break for the last 2 years, it is be the worst team in basketball.
Okay.
Undoubtedly. Worst team in basketball.
All right.
So, now, will that happen tonight?
Well, I think tonight is going to be an important one for the Blazers, maybe not to win because of, tiebreaker scenarios here, huh?
You're not wrong because they on this homestand, they've got Brooklyn, then they have the Clippers, then they have the Rockets, and then the Bulls, which that one's a little tougher to lose. But home game against Chicago, but then you go on the road against at Miami, at Orlando, and then at Charlotte. If you really want to, if you're talking like true sicko stuff, losing to Brooklyn and to Charlotte,
I am talking true sicko stuff.
Now we're getting twisted.
And I need true sicko stuff because this is what it's gonna take if you want Cooper Flagg and his 42 points that he dropped the other night.
Oh my God, he looked incredible. But here's the thing. They go on that 3-game road trip, and I believe was it 8 at home? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 at home. 7 at home, and then they have another 3-game trip, and then you're at the All-Star break. Okay? That 7-game homestand features the Thunder, the Bucks, the Magic, Phoenix twice, the Pacers, and the Kings. And then they close out a 3-game road trip with Minnesota and Denver twice. They could absolutely pile losses. They could lose 10 games in a row very easily.
All right.
Very easily. Now, the only different thing is, though, they have 2 baseball series with Phoenix and Denver there. And those almost always go 1-1.
Yeah.
And no matter what the situation is, you roll the dice, that's what ends up happening. Best team, worst team, doesn't matter. It's
hopefully
just weird.
Phoenix has Jimmy Butler by then and things really start working out in their favor and they really start winning.
And if you missed that, Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley had a face-to-face, and I'm sure it was a very calm sit-down face-to-face conversation because that's how both those gentlemen operate.
Well, especially when Jimmy Butler is talking to small children who are pouring coffee and saying, I complimented you. This is what good leadership does, is they compliment good work.
And then goes fourth wall break and stares into the camera?
Yeah. There's been nothing petty about this at all.
No.
Pat Riley has been on, local radio saying, well, maybe I should just hang it up because I'm washed. Like, they're both handling this very well.
Yeah. And it's again, Jimmy came out today, or it came out today that Jimmy and Pat had a nice little face-to-face, and Jimmy reiterated he wanted to be traded, which is interesting because I thought we were done with trade demands. Remember, you're not supposed to be allowed a trade demand. I wonder if that was submitted in the 10-page breach of contract.
Well, you're not supposed to make public trade demands, correct?
Well, yes, but I mean, this getting out is the same thing because that's the same thing that happened to Dame.
I wouldn't be surprised one bit if it was the Miami Heat leaking it to Shams just so they can put it in that 10-page brief and then say, that didn't come from us. It had to have come from
100%.
Jimmy, knowing that Shams isn't going to say where he got it from.
No. So for those that don't know, Jimmy Butler was suspended for 7 games. It was a home game and then the 6-game road trip. And in order to, the thing that was filed on her was conduct detrimental. And I brought up last week, I talked to a former executive in the league, like, how does this work? Like, what is I wanted the nerd notes on like what happens. He goes, there's a paper trail. And if you don't think that every single thing has been documented over time so that they can use it if ever necessary, this is like some Severance type stuff. Like, that's what this is. Like, it. We'll maybe talk about it with the NFL with the George Pickens stuff that's now being dumped out today and the Deontay Johnson stuff that's out there now. Like, every single player, good, bad, or otherwise, there's a file kept on them. Like, that's
dossier?
Yeah, there is. And in that, it's late to practice, or Zion, late to practice a bunch of times, missing the flight, and then getting suspended. And the crazy thing about the Zion thing was, I don't know if you saw this. It kind of went unnoticed. They made Zion give a statement in the press release. Like, they made him go. Have you seen the movie Hancock with Will Smith?
Yeah.
When he I will be better. You demand better. I will be better. They made him basically do that.
Proof of life. Proof of life. I am not being held hostage. I am being treated very well. Here is a newspaper dated today.
But I mean, it's like they embarrassed him. Because you don't get suspended for missing the team flight the first time, especially if you're the superstar. Yeah. Even if you're a head case. It's because he's missed it multiple times. And so with Jimmy, like, some of the stuff kind of leaked out. Like, yeah, he's been late to practice. He's been late to this. He's been disruptive about this. Like, and all of these things are all documented. And it was a 10-page filing, briefing, whatever you want to call it, that was sent to the league and sent to the NBAPA, because the players union is going to fight it, because he was fined basically $2.5 million.
As they should.
And they will, and they'll probably get half of it back. That's how this stuff usually goes. But I am really, the messaging when Miami was here in Portland over the weekend was that Jimmy will be back with the team soon. And they're going to resume, I'm just like, no, you're not.
Yeah,
that man is the most toxic. There is no one who has a switch to be more toxic than him.
No.
This is a guy that, like, I will bring this up at every opportunity, that took the back end of the Minnesota Timberwolves roster and dog-walked Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins in front of everyone.
To prove a point.
Just to prove a point. Posted up Cat over and over and over again. Called him every soft-related thing in the world. Playing with a T-shirt on that was a Minnesota Timberwolves T-shirt where he cut the logo out of the middle of it just to further prove a point. Then sprinted off the court after giving him that work, thinking that his teammates thought that he was coming back. But no, he went out the back door, hopped in his car, drove to another building, and did a sit-down interview with Rachel Nichols where he told everyone what he just did.
Which was awesome.
It was the most unhinged thing I've ever seen a player do. And it was amazing.
I mean, Latrell Sprewell.
Well, it's choking a coach is pretty high. But I mean, like, let he who has not put hands on another dude cast the first stone here. Like, this was diabolical. This is psychological warfare.
Yeah, it was.
And that's what Jimmy specializes in. It's psychological warfare.
You're not wrong.
And if what's going to come out of this is insane. And like going all back to Portland, Brooklyn is, they have sent off Dennis Schroeder because, one, Dennis Schroeder is a problem. And I don't mean in a good way. But he can be a good basketball player. They're trying to tank, but they still have Cam Johnson. They got rid of, Dorian Finney-Smith as well. Like, but they're still not at the level of, like, being one of the 3 worst teams in basketball.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. We talked about this going into the season. The Blazers were going to be one of the 5 worst teams in basketball, right there with Brooklyn. But they weren't going to be the worst. We all knew that Washington had that cornered. And then you're like, okay, after Washington, who is it going to be?
And they've been really good at being bad.
Oh, my God. What's funny is they are not getting the coverage that you would typically expect of the team to be that bad, because they splice in a win.
Just every now and then.
Just every now and then. They've won, I want to say it's like 4 out of their last 30.
Dang.
Something like that. It's obscene. Because they started the season 2-2 and then they lost 16 straight. Like, it's absolutely brutal what they have done. But, like, you're not catching them. And you're probably not catching the Pelicans.
No, but the reality is that, well, last year was actually the outlier in that a team jumped as far as the Hawks did. But you've had I think the team with the second best odds has won it.
That's the one that the most likely to win it, according to the odds.
I think they won it every other year except for last year, right?
No, it's
or the team had a fourth. The
7th, 4th, and 10th, and the rest have been the second.
Dang.
Since 2019.
Since the smoothing of the odds.
So you basically it's like a 60-40 chance if you're in the top 3, if you're outside, like, which again is like, as much as everyone's like, if you live and die with every win or loss, it's like, guys, you just got to wait the lottery. Like, yeah, you want to improve your odds, but
it's a crapshoot.
It's because of the flattening of the odds. Now, if this was the old lottery, I would say go full Philly process.
But there is something to, you don't want to be 7th because the drop from like 6 to 7,
it's pretty precipitous
in percentage odds of jumping up is
it's detrimental. It is. So. Coming up next, it's time for our worst day on the web, and this one is it's a Dusty submitted special.
Oh, it is.
It has to do with a man, his unit, and a bird.
Oh, wait, what? I submitted this?
You did in the text message. It is sports adjacent. Oh no!
I'm remembering this now.
Yes.
This is why I should not text you.
This is definitely why you should not text me. But first, here's Big Will Betts with the Sports Center update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Dallas Cowboys have started the early stages of their coaching search. They were unable to reach a deal with their former coach, Mike McCarthy. Colorado head coach Deion Sanders has been a rumored candidate for the job. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Jones and Sanders spoke on the phone Monday about Deion joining the Cowboys. They are still in the early stages. No interview has even been set. Broncos quarterback Bo Nix revealed Monday that he played the back half of his rookie year with 3 transverse process fractures in his back. This injury is not expected to affect Nix's career long term. In the NBA, the Blazers are back in action tonight. They're taking on the Brooklyn Nets at home. Denny Avdia is questionable with the sprained ankle. Blazers are 6-point favorites. Tip-off at 7. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. Today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
Be careful what you send to me, Dusty, because it might end up on the show. It's a real thing.
Uh-huh.
Juan Bernabe, the handler of both the Eagles and the Falcons for the Seahawks and the Lazio soccer team, has...
Wait, what?
Yeah, the handler. The bird handler.
For the Seattle Seahawks?
Was it the Seahawks?
I don't know.
I think it was. I could be wrong.
That seems like those are two very, 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 very far apart teams.
Maybe he's appeared there?
I don't know.
Or maybe, oh no, they mentioned the bird handler for the Seahawks. My mistake. So let's just go with Lazio, because that's actually who this guy is for.
What is Lazio, by the way?
A soccer team in Italy.
Okay.
He had an implant done. Singular.
Yeah.
A penile implant, of which he shared on social media.
Yeah, he showed the photos, man.
Not just full Monty, but like with gusto.
Yeah, the bits and pieces. And he put these on internet because of the fact that apparently he had an injury
where he lost a testicular.
Yeah, he's a former former player too, right? And now he is the handler of the Eagle for the soccer team. And like he showed these pictures over the weekend, and then they rolled him out there on Monday like, "Hey, here he is. He's going to be right here with our Eagle, right here on the pitch." And he did an interview where he just gushes over the owner. Like, it gets weirder and weirder as this Twitter thread that I sent you moved on, because it talked about how he just basically put all his pictures out on the internet for everybody to see. And look, Europe, they're far more loose and free with their bodies. But then you hear some of the quotes because they asked him about it, because they're like, "Hey, this is the first time we've seen you since, I don't know, we saw your bits and pieces on the internet." And so they started asking him about the team president and like, what did he say about you putting everything all out on the internet? Because usually, I don't know, your boss not going to be happy if you're a recognizable face and personality of your franchise.
But also, it's Italy.
He said he's also a man. The surgery doesn't make me a porn star. I just had a health problem. He goes, he understood.
Look,
the owner of the team, he understood this. Like,
standards for your nudity in Europe are a lot lower.
He said, I've had 2 kids, but now I can control how long I go. So the team president, he totally understood why I put these pictures out on the internet. This is a non-factor here. What?
All I could think of when I first saw this,
I love that he's doing interviews.
Was the speaking of doing interviews with that, you ever seen Basketball?
Yeah.
That's all I could think of was Basketball and Yasmin Bleeth in
Boy,
that scene.
It has been so long. I don't remember really any of it except for Al Michaels being on it.
You don't remember the scene where they have the world's longists in the locker room and she can't say anything about it?
I honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember. It is
like a bird lands.
It's been like 20 years.
Yeah.
It's been 20 years.
A bird just kind of lands.
All right.
And on a perch, as it were.
Here's I mean, he's talking about, like, basically what he had put in there is, like, he's got, like, this button that he can push that keeps him going.
Yeah,
and he can control when he turns it off.
So it's a robo ween?
Basically, yeah, that's what this guy had put in, and he put the pictures out on the internet and then just went right back to work like nothing happened. And apparently that was totally cool with this soccer club. They're like, "Yeah, welcome back, man. We're really happy for you right now."
Like I said, it's
good luck to you.
It's a different world.
I would say so.
It's a different world.
Yeah, which is not really the worst day on the web. It's kind of the best day on the web.
I mean, for him, it's certainly an improvement. I mean, if we wanted to go to the other side of this, there's actually a local story about a guy who went to OHSU and had his face catch fire.
At OHSU?
Mm-hmm. He's suing the hospital for $900,000. He had a.
What did he go there in the first place for?
He was having a squamous cell
hand.
carcinoma, which is a cancer of the tongue.
Yeah.
And he checked in for a tracheostomy, which is to have a breathing tube put in. And part of that process involved his face being swapped with isopropyl alcohol. But when the alcohol wasn't given enough time to dry, his face caught on fire when it came in contact with the surgical tool that emitted a spark.
What?
So,
dude.
Yeah, the guy ended up dying not from the face being on fire, but from the cancer in his tongue in 2023.
So now the family's just suing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should probably win that.
Yeah, the lawsuit was filed in 2024, suffered greatly and lived with disfiguring scars and other traumatic wounds to his face that never fully healed before he died. So not only is your tongue a cancerous blob, but your face is mangled.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
I'm anti that. I don't like
anti
that.
I like the best day on the web way better than that one.
Is it the best day on the web?
I mean,
like, do we know that he's gotten success from that? Because there's only one reason to put out that photo.
Dude, this guy,
and release the special features.
If you're reading this guy's comments,
You should definitely go use your work computer and go look up the tweet.
it's the best thing. It's the best thing that's ever happened to this guy.
Well, but again, like, is it just randos on the internet, or is there like a
These are direct that are operating on him? No, these are direct quotes from the dude.
No. I'm talking like if you're
Quit beating around the bush here.
If you're gonna have this procedure done, nice. I think that it's only successful if you're getting hit up by certain celebrities.
He's married. You know,
I stand by what I said.
And he's a different cat. And this soccer club feels like they're a little off with most of their handlings of things. He said, "I did it to be as fit as when I was young."
What?
Yep. And he says he feels as young now. But there's one of the tweets that accompanies this story says this wasn't the first time Burnaby has landed in controversy. In 2021, Lazio suspended him for cheering the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini and performing the fascist salute.
Yeah, I'm anti this guy.
I don't like this guy.
I don't like this guy.
Here's the worst part
Mussolini?
on the web. Yeah, here's the worst part on the web right there.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever seen any of those terrible videos when like a German guy's at the gym and they go to do like shoulder raises and like, oh, nope, can't do that.
You know who this guy looks like?
Who?
Dana White.
Oh, shocker.
That's a good call.
Guy looks like Dana White, supports Mussolini. I'm shocked by that.
Like, I mean...
No, you're right. He's a dead ringer.
Like, it is a dead ringer for this guy. All right.
Ruining it for all of us bald men.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. That is it. This is a bad day on the web.
My God,
for
the
me.
side profile is like,
yeah,
it's Dana White.
He looks like Dana White.
This is a bad day on the web for me.
Who
and
loves
Sook
Eagles.
and all other bald men. Giving us a bad name.
Well, I think you guys do a good enough job of that, too.
Incorrect, sir.
I will say
I'm an upstanding citizen.
There's pictures of him with hair, and he looks completely different.
Yeah, right?
It's kind of weird.
So does Will Ortner. You see Will Ortner's pictures back when he had like a permed flow?
It wasn't permed. I braided it.
It
also,
was heading...
why are they using Our Bird?
I don't know. It is a bald eagle.
It's a bald eagle.
Yeah.
That's Our Bird.
Will Ortner had long hair that went down like your shoulders.
Past my
your
shoulder blades.
Like shoulder blades, yeah.
I'm getting there.
And it was... No, you're not even close to what he had.
It was
not
long.
even
You got another 2 years.
close. Yeah. You're not... You really are
And then you
not
got to learn
even
how to braid
close.
it.
But it was...
How dare you not think I could do that?
It was also trending towards a skullet on Will as it was going on, like
And not due to a bad haircut.
It was racing away from the top of your head
no.
and right on down your back. Like,
Yeah, it was a
time,
thing.
but you came home, and that's an important thing, dude. I'm proud of you.
I made the right decision to go bald.
And you did it young, man.
Land the ship.
Had to. I glue up.
If we got you hair restoration clinic,
No.
are you sure?
I don't think what's the game? Well, there's a lot of issues here for me.
I don't
Like,
know.
Am I gonna
go full
follow
Urlacher.
That sick flow that you had before.
But here's the thing: am I
It's
gonna
not a
follow?
rug.
Am I gonna follow through on it? Like, am I with most of those? You have to like every day. You got to put the stuff on, and you got to follow through. That doesn't sound like something I'll do. I'll follow. Like I'll do it like Monday and Wednesday.
Well, if you
I'll
don't, it
forget
like falls
Tuesday.
out. So
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
How
no.
are you an
So you're-
adult
the-
if you
yeah.
can't even do that?
Exactly. No, that doesn't.
Exactly. How are you an adult? Yeah, no.
I shave my
no,
head.
That assumption.
I just want to be bald. If I could, I'd get rid of my hair tomorrow.
Well, you did. You shaved it.
No, but it still grows. I mean, like
You should go do like the
go.
go do the
Oh,
opposite.
we're gonna go opposite.
Go laser
Yes.
hair removal on
Yes.
your head.
If hair restoration wants to do that for me, I'd love it.
I'd be down.
Just never have to shave it. Just be perfectly shorn all the time.
100%.
Wow. All right.
And if they could do that with my back, that would be awesome too.
Well, they can. It's just you need multiple sessions.
I'd also need money.
Yeah. All right.
We should nair your back.
It's been done before.
I don't think we should, but you can. I'm going to take the we out of it. You
I don't
guys
know.
can go and do
It
whatever
sound-
you
it
want with
sounds
his
to
back
me-
hair.
it
I
sounds
said
to
nair,
me-
but
I'm gonna be
I
on
bet
the
you-
It
outside
sounds
here.
to me like you two have asked me to do this.
I'm going to be.
No,
you
I want to be
want
as
to do it for
far
me.
away from
I
that
said
as
nair.
possible.
I want you to go like full 40-year-old virgin and go get the wax job.
If you want to pay for it, I'll do it.
Oh,
If
That-
others
Hey,
are willing
that
to
might-
pay,
you just got your back waxed.
that might be worth it.
wow, or an arrow on the chest.
Oh, buddy, you know it bleeds, right?
I'm
Just-
fine with that.
Okay.
I don't
Like
have
that's
an
not
issue
like
with that.
that's not just like a thing from 40-year-old virgin where it's like he's like bleeding through his shirt on the way home because it's a joke. Like it's a real thing.
Whatever gets me clean.
All right. I don't even know where to go with that. So with that, you know what? Let's dive a little bit into the transfer portal for the Oregon Ducks, and then dive into the actual transfer portal as it pertains to college football. Coming up next on Dan and Dusty, 10 the Fan. The Oregon Ducks have been busy in the transfer portal. They've plucked quite a few guys out over the last couple weeks, but more recently, USC's Emmanuel Pregnon is now heading to Eugene, the big interior offensive lineman who surprisingly entered the portal last week. Oregon has stepped up and grabbed him, so that's 2 from USC in Pregnon and Bear Alexander.
This is, again, bolstering the interior of the offensive line. I mean, when you are missing, and think of the transition that Oregon is having on their O-line, right? Gone from this past year's team are Josh Connerly, Johnny Cornelius, Marcus Harper, Nishad Strother. Coming back next year, guys that played significant roles are Pancha Laulu, you bring your center back, Kavika Rogers, and Dave Iuli, who both kind of took over that right guard position in rotating in with Marcus Harper after his injury. So you bring 3 back. You go into the transfer portal and you get Isaiah World, the number 1 left tackle. Was it Alex Harkey, the right tackle from Texas State? Mm-hmm. They've been trying to rebuild and just kind of retool that thing on the fly because they have recruited and developed guys on that O-line that they're going to be expecting significant snaps from, whether it is, Matthew Bedford, who came in from Indiana out of the transfer portal, was injured this year and unable to play. Janoris Wilson, who we saw catch a 2-point conversion at one point this year, but didn't really get significant snaps. George Silva, another monster that they can rely on the outside. Oregon is trying to build depth. If you look at where their O-line was at heading into this week, it was like 8 guys that they would feel comfortable with rolling in there in a rotation. You add a 9th in there, and all of a sudden this offensive line is starting to make a heck of a lot more sense. And when you add a top target in the transfer portal, I think he's the 11th overall rated target to enter the portal this entire season, an interior offensive lineman who hasn't allowed a sack in over a year. I think he went over 1,300 snaps without a sack.
He's been very good for USC.
He is.
There's the one thing for USC I would say on their offensive line in the last 2 years that has been consistent.
Yeah, and that's where what Oregon has been doing via the portal has been really dang good, and it's filling holes and filling gaps where they need them the most. And you do it through not just the portal, you do it through traditional recruiting as well. And this is where it goes to, you take your traditional recruiting rankings and you take your portal rankings. Oregon has done a phenomenal job so far. I think this pushes them up to 9th nationally in transfer portal rankings. They had the number 5 recruiting class. And when you add 3 high-caliber offensive linemen, Makai Hughes, a running back out of Tulane. You bolster your secondary with Dylan Thieneman and Theron Johnson, the transfers from Purdue and Northwestern, respectively. This is where you're starting to see a lot of it come together. Jamari Johnson, the Louisville tight end, they've gone and they've filled positions of need, and that's exactly what you want to do. You just don't want to go and try to rebuild your roster through the portal. Ideally, as your recruiting classes come through, you rely on the portal less and less. And right now, Oregon's at 9. I think last year they brought in either 14 or 16 guys from the portal. This is kind of what you want to see if you're Oregon. I don't think they're done yet in the portal, but right now they sit at 9, and they're 9 high-caliber players.
Yeah, you mean you take a look around college football right now. Let's see. USC is at 9. Oregon is at 9. I'm trying to check the other Big Ten teams. I think Ohio State is also at 9 or 10. Michigan State is at 16. Like it's becoming very common.
Those are programs that need to take on guys. And like if USC, they need to start taking more guys on out of the portal because of the defections in the positions of need that they had those defections from. Think of how many guys, you got to look at it as how many are coming in and how many are going out, right? And where the skill level is. There was some surprises of guys leaving via the transfer portal for USC as well. And, that's where you're probably going to have to lean on taking more guys in. If you're in the middle of a rebuild, you absolutely need to do it. If you lose guys to attrition, you 100% have to do it, or if you're not as good of a recruiter. then you're going to have to take on guys through the portal right now. I mean, what's incredible is that Ole Miss is doing it again. They have 21 guys.
Lane's pretty good at that.
He's the portal king. I mean, Dion wanted to claim it.
He's the opposite of Dabo.
But he had 26 guys out of the portal last year. He's got 21 this year. Back in 2023, I think he had another massive portal class as well where, he brought in 23. So he basically turns over his starting 11 on both sides every year through the portal.
And it's pretty crazy. It's not like
they're good.
He's not just, he's not agnostic to where he goes and gets them. Like, he's got a couple guys from Arkansas in here, and he's got LSU and Georgia, but he's also got Chattanooga. He's got UAB. He's got Oklahoma State, Marshall, Wake Forest, Louisville, West Virginia, Washington State, Akron. Like, the man goes just everywhere.
I think another thing to kind of look at in this, and like recruiting rankings they can be whatever, right? A lot of it is, all right, how many guys do you just pull in? And we know how often the recruiting rankings can just be flat out wrong, too, in misevaluating guys. But if you look at where Oregon in their class this past year, the high school recruiting, they had 20 commits. That's a relatively small class, right? Ranked 5th overall nationally. But if you look at average rating per recruit, number 1 in the country. This transfer portal class, they are 9th. 9 guys coming in through the portal. Not a lot of guys, right? Currently, they have the highest average rating per commit in the country again. So it is the evaluation of talent. You're going to be more selective when you have a roster that you feel is more ready to go. The biggest thing with Oregon moving forward, though, is that quarterback position. And then it is that trickle down to the wide receiver position, because those in all of these spots, they've gone and they've plugged a bunch of holes in the offensive line, right, with high-level players.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receiver is going to be dependent on development of some guys that you have there. Replacing Tez Johnson, we saw the importance of Tez. Replacing Trayshawn Holden, those are big shoes to fill. Evan Stewart coming back was huge for Oregon. But quarterback in the development of Dante Moore and Austin Novosad in that quarterback room moving forward, that's going to be where the success of this Oregon team is.
It's going to be really interesting just going to see is the college football playoff and the new idea of the transfer portal, which was sneered at 2 years ago, is now being fully grasped by all the programs around the country, and how each is going to kind of one feed into the other. Coming up next, we will talk about that transfer portal and how there might be some changes coming up to here in hour number 3 on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, Jimmy Butler had a meeting today with Heat President Pat Riley where he reiterated that he wants to be traded. Butler's 7-game suspension from the team for conduct detrimental to the team ends on Thursday. Your Portland Trailblazers, they're back in action tonight. They're continuing their homestand, taking on the Brooklyn Nets. No Jeremy Grant or Matisse Thybulle. They're both out with injuries. Blazers are 6-point favorites. Tip-off at 7. Over in the NFL, the Cowboys are in the early stages of their coaching search. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Deion Sanders did have a phone call with owner Jerry Jones about the job. There still has been no interview set up there. Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond announced that he's leaving school early. He's going to enter the 2025 NFL Draft. Bond is the 6th receiver on ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr.'s big board. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows.
Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty, whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan, or twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us on this wonderful, wonderful day of the week.
Love
Tuesday.
you.
You're okay. I'll keep pointing this out. You're right. The cold sucks. I don't like it. My heater's out in my house. I'd rather have it be 50 degrees.
Your heater's out in your house?
Yeah. Look, I'm fine. My wife is not.
My
wife. She is. She works from home. We have like the full size like big space heater that you can put in the room, and she has made her office just a furnace, and it's so gross. So I'm just like, I can't be in here right now. But yeah, I don't know if it's my thermostat or my heater. I got to have them come check it out because, as you've heard me do on the ad reads, also get your windows done. It'll save you money.
Don't barbecue inside your house, Danny. I feel like I need to remind you of this after our conversation last week.
Oh no, you got
like Americans aren't that dumb.
No,
don't barbecue inside your house when it gets too cold.
Yeah, you have to have proper ventilation. But yeah, no, I've already replaced it was the air conditioning unit 2 years ago that was 18 years old. The heater, I think, is about that old or older, so that needs to be replaced now. But all I'm saying is I should probably start doing some ad reads for a home warranty company because, ladies, I have replaced my dishwasher, my AC, my water heater. Home ownership is fun. I think every appliance except for my washer and dryer, which were brand new when I moved in.
I'll never experience home ownership, so it's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, you're at that age.
My generation, we're not getting it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Fox 12 Oregon tweeted this out this morning. Name something you didn't know was expensive until you became an adult. I thought that was the easiest answer of all time because it's being an adult.
Yeah, it's being
just
an adult.
Being an adult.
It's insurance.
It's
dude.
insurance.
Insurance is a racket.
Whether it's insurance, your mortgage or rent,
property taxes.
Okay. Well, yeah, that kind of goes into all of that. Car payments, cable, food, electricity, garbage, sewage. Like being an adult is way more expensive than
there was a social
kids
media
think.
video of a mother who got sick and tired of her teenage daughter just throwing stuff in the cart when they would go grocery shopping, and was like, nope. From now on, all your makeup. A young girl, it was like she was 17 or something, 16, 17 years old. Everything that you want outside of food, you have to pay for. And watching her ring it up, this costs this much, this costs this much, this costs this much. And it was like, yeah, welcome to reality, punching you in the face.
It's like back to that clip when Bill Gates went on Ellen. She's like, how much does a gallon of milk cost? And he was like, I don't know. He had no idea.
No,
I had no idea. Money isn't important to him.
Like the one, like people that everyday people right now probably experience is the price of eggs when they have that bird flu. That like I hadn't bought eggs I in the grocery store in a couple different trips, and I didn't realize that it had gone that crazy. And for a pack of brown eggs, it was like $11.99. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Well, this is
But
supposed
gas
to be
is down.
like it was supposed to be $3.
Paid
Yeah.
$40 to fill up my Camry.
I do love it when I see the gas prices tick on down. I have the Fred Meyer gas station when you get the rewards.
You get them rewards.
I had the
numbers.
$1 off. Buddy, my tank was at like 14 miles still empty because, again, my wife doesn't put gas in my car ever. And filling that up at like $2.19 a gallon, the nostalgia hit pretty hard. Like I saw a full tank for that price and I went, that was 2006?
Yeah.
2006 the last time I saw that happen? So that was pretty cool. So,
oh, man.
total derail, but there you go. Speaking of derails, the American Football Coaches Association in college football, they're done with the old transfer portal and its shenanigans.
Yeah, they got the coaches convention going on. I think it's in Charlotte right now. And
they want the changes.
Well,
And
there
it
needs
makes
to be
sense.
changes, but I think they're taking one step in the right direction. Then they're all going to say, wait, we don't want this anymore after the fact. But unanimously, the American Football Coaches Association has proposed only one transfer portal window. And this will go to the Football Oversight Committee at the end of this month. But it could be pretty big in the world of college football because what they're saying is only one window to transfer, and that window is only 10 days, and it is at the conclusion of the bowl season. Okay? So from January 2nd to January 12th, you would have the transfer portal open. At that point, after that, the transfer portal is closed. I'm assuming that this would kind of be the same as what we have now, which the 10-day window for any team that's still competing in the playoffs is still open until after the conclusion of your season. So it would be 10 days after the national championship, semifinals, quarterfinals, so on and so forth, for any of those teams that play after January 1.
I just had an idea if we did this like a when the portal opens and portal closes, like do it almost like a game show.
Yeah.
Be kind of fun.
But this is big because there is a spring window as well that currently opens, which I think there is value in having a spring portal that is open. I do like the fact that they're putting a 10-day window on it. It's
Tighten
only
it
10
up.
days. It's after the season is over, so we don't have what we saw right now, what we saw this year, where like Bo Prigbula from Penn State, he's forced to enter the portal as his team is in the playoff.
Prepping for a bowl game.
Because of the fact that he had to find a landing spot because everybody else was transferring.
There's only so many spots. You got to get while the getting's good.
And if he wanted to get his pick, he had to leave his team while they are in the playoff. That's not fair to him. That's not fair to Penn State. That's not fair to anybody on that
I mean, Penn
roster.
State didn't even have the option to get rid of their bad quarterback to go to their young kid.
But
because he was gone.
When you have that portal open in December, the dumbest thing ever was everybody saying, well, they're doing it because that you got to get guys in for the quarter and the semesters. No, you don't. No, you don't. And the coaches are just telling you that right now. They literally just signaled that right now. That was never something that was a reality, because the reality is that all of these schools start and stop their fall and winter terms at different times. And so you didn't need to do it in December. If you want to get a guy into school, you can get a guy into school and everything's going to be fine, right? Especially once the house settlement happens, and this is also a big signal. Once they become employees, then at this point, you could still be taking online classes at one school, and you won't have to have all of the eligibility requirements to where you have to be taking, a certain amount of credits over the course of a school year to be eligible the next year. College sports are going to change dramatically with the house settlement once they are considered employees of the university and get paid by the university. But the AFCA proposed a 10-day window, one of them and one only, January 2nd to January 12th, At that point, you cannot enter the portal unless you are a graduate transfer. If you are a graduate transfer, so you get your degree, then you can transfer at the end of the school year.
Okay. You would like to see the winter portal go away altogether, wouldn't you?
No. I do not want the winter portal to go away. I want it like this.
Okay.
At the end of, I think in a perfect world, it starts after the day after the national championship and
When
goes
all
10
games
days.
are concluded.
Goes the day after the national championship, a 10-day window, and then at that point, it closes for everybody. And then at the conclusion of spring ball, for once all the schools are done with spring ball, then you have another 10-day window. That's it.
Okay.
I think 2 windows are important because also, like, this is why coaches are going to have regrets over this plan is the unrecruiting of your roster.
It's going to happen while you're doing
real.
Pro. Yeah.
And you're going to go through spring ball and be like, nope.
Well, I mean, Pregnon is one of those guys.
He's not. Huh?
Emmanuel Pregnon is one of those guys.
Is one of what guys? Unrecruiting your roster?
As far as like the I mean, he wasn't in the portal and then he was. Like,
no, I'm talking about you go through spring ball.
Oh, you're talking about unrecruiting your own roster.
Unrecruiting your roster is when you have guys, and this happens all across college. Yeah. Actually, most players that go into the portal are unrecruited from your own roster, where you look at your roster and you go, he's not going to be a guy for us.
Yeah, he doesn't fit X, Y, or Z.
Buddy, you should probably go and try to find a landing spot somewhere else. If you want to play, we want you to play, but it's probably not going to be here. And that is a lot of most of the guys that are in the portal. That's why you see guys drop down so much from Power 4 to the group of 6 or FBS down to FCS. Like, because most of those guys just you think they may have something, they just don't have it to play at that level.
And then you have the other guys who swing up who kind of slipped through the cracks early on that had developed and now they go do their thing.
With the 105 roster limit that is coming down the pipeline, where it's not an 85 scholarship limit, it is 105 all scholarship players. What you are going to see is a lot of schools are going to be attacking recruiting high school guys with, hey, go to,
such and such.
San Jose State. And then you
go develop,
prove yourself, grow, and you always will have a spot here if you improve and you grow. But right now, we just don't have the spots for you. That's going to happen a lot.
I would bet it would be more junior colleges, though, especially if the Pavia stuff stays pat and it's not
hit the eligibility.
Yeah, like
junior college and NAI football, baby.
Right? Like, would it shock you if some of those junior colleges like even became like a breeding ground for coaches? Like, hey, we don't have a GA spot for you here at whatever school.
That would shock me.
Go down to, whatever, College of the Siskiyous, College of whatever. You go spend your time down there. We've got a couple kids down there. If they, like you and they improve under you, maybe we find a spot for you after.
That would surprise me because they just don't have money. And now they're expanding coaching staffs now to where they can pay those guys. That would surprise me because they just don't have any money. But you're right with JUCO. Also, you're going to have coaching trees, right? Where, say, your tight ends coach or your defensive backs coach gets a job at a group of 6 school, and dude, he may be pushing guys your way eventually because they're not competing for the same titles as you are.
No.
I mean, that could be a thing that happens. Basically, minor league in college football.
The professionalization and re-amateurization of college sports.
NFL won't make a minor league, so college will. I mean, that would be crazy if that happened. Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of how these college coaches
tried to.
I'm just thinking how these college coaches think, which is how can we get an advantage any way possible?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what all of these coaches are doing.
It's just pushing the wheel down the hill. That's what this is. All right, coming up next, a bunch of people have asked about, the Blazers possibly going to lose out. I went back through because I've talked about just how bad they've been over the last couple of years. When we get back, I'll tell you the exact path that they go to end up as one of the 5 worst teams in the NBA. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Portland Trailblazers currently have 13 wins. They're taking on the Brooklyn Nets tonight. And everybody's like, they're winning too many games. And we talked a little bit already about where they're at, where they're in the standings, and kind of how this can all shake out, right? Well, the thing about this is, and I've said this multiple times, come All-Star break, things will be different. And they're like, well, you can't do this and you can't do that. Yes, you can. You know how I know you can? Because in 21-22, they went 2-21 post All-Star break.
That seems bad.
The worst record in the NBA. In 22-23, they went 5-19, the second worst record in the NBA. Last year, post All-Star break, they went 6-22, the worst record in the NBA. If you combine it all, that is 13-62. That is 75 games. It's a 17% winning percentage. That is on pace to win 14 games over an 82 game season.
If you just take their tanking at the end of the season.
Yes, and so I've said people, well, what pace are they on right now? The pace that they're on right now doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's going to change in 3 weeks.
I think Blazer fans especially have been conditioned to think in the terms of when they were competitive. In all of that pacing and the projecting of how many wins they would have, it was always that furious finish that the Blazers would have to do to either get to the playoffs or in order to get to a point where seeding mattered, right? And they got more favorable seeding. That was what they would always do. And so there is this conditioning that, you always peel off a few more wins than you think. Well, I think what we're looking at now is this team is losing far more games than they should based on the projections at a midway point of the season. And that's kind of how we need to reframe and refocus what this team is right now. Because it's not good.
I've seen some people say, well, they're going to sit guys. And I'm like, yeah, it's exactly what's going to happen. Have you not watched the past 3 years?
Well, yeah. But who are they going to sit is the question.
I mean, anybody who's still here who's impacting winning.
And that is going to be the interesting part.
With the exception of the young guys.
We talked about this in was it last week when we talked about like the trade market does not seem like it is going the way that people were hoping it would for a lot of teams, not just Portland.
You can basically say every team in the league, anything over basically $18 million.
And that is, that's a
transactions will happen, but if you're talking about with the Trailblazers, you're probably looking at guys like Jabari Walker and Duop Reith. You're not looking at guys who are making real money.
And we're gonna have to see a lot more guys taking seats then if that's the case.
And here's the thing: you've already seen Jeremy Grant do it in the past.
Yeah,
he hasn't played a game post March or in March in the past 3 years.
What's going on with his face?
He got smacked in the jaw really hard. Okay. And he did not get put in concussion protocol, but it jacked up his jaw and his neck pretty bad. I know everybody's like, oh, they're sitting him for trades. And it's like, guys, you don't sit the guy who underperformed from 2 this year and would kind of you want him to go out there and play for a couple of games and be like, it was just a bad start in the middle of trade season. That's not how that works, like at all, in any way, shape, matter, or form. And it's the same thing has happened with Matisse. And I'm like, Matisse basically turned his ankle upside down. Matisse flat out told me that the doctors told him basically it almost would have been better had he broken his ankle as opposed to the level of sprain that he had.
Yikes. And that usually happens, though, if you have a really bad sprain.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was a grade 2 sprain. It was not upper ankle. It was, upper ankle. It was just like mid ankle, but it was very bad. It was a grade 2, which means there are partial tears.
Yeah, all sprains are tears.
And the grade 2 is, the closest you get because grade 3 is a full tear and or rupture. Mm-hmm. So, but he was coming back off of procedure he had done on his knee. He had some PRP done to his knee. And if you ever had PRP done, it can make you swell up like a balloon. I've had it done on my knees 4 different times. And it's not a fun process. Like it can help a ton, but it also, you have some aggravation and swelling. And when he came back from that, it just took a little while. And when I think he was 2 days away from returning when he rolled his ankle, and he rolled the living crap out of it. And talking to him before they went on this last road trip, he was like, yeah, no, I've, in the way Matisse can do something, he was like very thoughtful. He's like, throughout this whole process, I've really learned to understand like all of the inner workings and like how an ankle actually works. Like I've sat down and talked to the doctors, and of course I just kind of like laugh, like of course you would, Tease.
Yeah,
Like that's
that
what you
makes
take out of
sense.
this. But then he also drops the. They also told me it probably would have been better had I broken it, and I was like, yeesh.
Not good.
It was gnarly. Like it was a really bad sprain. So for everybody's like, every time somebody hits the injury report, oh, it's trade. No, it's not. Like if we're like 3 days away from the trade deadline, tighten the tinfoil. 3 weeks? No, like that's not when it happens.
I think we'd all love to see something happen, though.
Yeah, I would too. And when I say this stuff, it's not because I don't want to see things happen or, I'm poo-pooing transactions like, oh, I can't do that. There's just no traction in the NBA around deals right now of any significance.
Yeah. But I said it before, I'll say it again. I think that we will all look at it as a failure if other teams are able to get stuff done, but the Blazers aren't, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it lands with this. If nobody can make moves and that's just the way that the CBA is that restrictive, then look, you can only play the hand you're dealt, right? But if other teams are finding ways to get deals done, that is where you go, that's a failure.
That's where I had a GM say when they were talking about trades, like if trade does happen, there's only so many buyers out there. If you have a piece that you could potentially be moved, you have to find a way to win that transaction. And not like win the outcome, but have it be that your guy is the one that's moved as opposed to everyone else's. And that's and like you said, if that happens, then then you can start having that discussion about whatever teams don't get something done versus the team that did.
Because at that point, we sit there and we hear often about the movable assets that they have, the contracts being structured in a way that they could be moved, and guys that would be attractive on the trade market. And if they're not attractive enough for anybody who wants them, then we overplayed our hand here in Portland, right? And that's where we would be at that point. But as of right now, look, we're all just hoping, waiting, wishing that something happens at or near the trade deadline.
It's an interesting place to end up, that's for sure. All right,
but don't panic. We can lose enough games here at the end of this year.
Yeah, they've showed that they're more than capable of doing that. Coming up next is some NFL news and notes to dive into. Mike Tomlin is squashing rumors, and playoff pricing is getting a little bonkers. But first, here's Big Will Betts with a Sports Center update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, your Portland Trailblazers, they're going to be taking on the Brooklyn Nets tonight, continuing their homestand. No Jeremy Grant or Matisse Thybulle. They're both out with injuries. Deni Avdija is questionable. He's got a sprained ankle. Blazers are 6-point favorites. Tip-off for that game is at 7. Over in Miami, Jimmy Butler and Heat President Pat Riley met today to discuss some of Jimmy Butler's issues. Butler has said that he continues to demand a trade. Butler's 7-game suspension from the team for detrimental conduct ends on Thursday. Over in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys have started the early stages of their coaching search. Colorado head coach Deion Sanders has been rumored to be a candidate for the job. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Jones and Sanders spoke on the phone Monday about the possibility of Sanders interviewing for the job. Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond announced that he's leaving school early and will enter the 2025 NFL Draft. Bond is the 6th wide receiver on ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr.'s big board. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The original home of the Herd. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Well, Mike Tomlin, longtime coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, has put his foot down and stopped any and all the nonsense about him potentially being traded for.
Ooh, hey.
He says, save your time. Which
yes, thank you.
He doesn't. Would he want to even go anywhere? Like, that's the thing is, like, it's 16 straight years now with 16 straight winning seasons?
Yeah, his entire career.
Yeah, it's 16, though, right?
I think
it's
so.
16 or 17. I can never remember which year he's on. But he had his season-ending news conference and about his availability in any potential trade. He said, save your time. And he
I
said,
love that.
I understand the nature it is what is we do, the attention and criticism that comes with it. As a matter of fact, I embrace it, to be quite honest with you. I enjoy the urgency that comes with what I do and what we do.
He was the head coach in 2007, so this would be 17 years.
Good God.
17 straight non-losing seasons.
Because
he's got
won
800.
Yeah,
no, he's got a few.
He's got a few 8 and 8
in there.
seasons? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He's got 3 8-8s. They went 8-8 in 2019, 13, and 12. But he has not had a losing season as a head coach. That's pretty good.
That's insane.
That's pretty good. I've heard that is okay there, Mike Tomlin.
And how many in 17 seasons he's probably made the playoffs? What, 12 times?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
Yeah,
12. 12 of 17.
Yeah,
he's missed the playoffs in his 9-win seasons, and the 3 8-8s.
Which again, that's insane.
Yeah, he's really good coach.
12 playoff appearances. Now, go ask the Cleveland Browns if they'd take that. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Detroit Lions prior to the last year. Like, it's a level of success that's pretty insane.
I still go and just lean on the amount of crazy that he has dealt with. Think of this man. Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. Like, we're not even talking about James Harrison, who's a different kind of crazy. He's not like diva crazy.
They keep Debo around.
But he is like, I will murder you, and I will play volleyball with a 50-pound medicine ball. Like, he's a nut job. Like, he has dealt with so many different kinds of crazy, and all they've done is won.
Mm-hmm.
Every year. And
like, if you
right now, it isn't about Mike Tomlin. It is about quarterback.
Yes.
And that's not a Mike Tomlin problem.
No.
It's
not. And it's a really interesting spot for them to kind of be in as far as I've seen some Steelers fans like, we just need to make the change. Just need to make like, so getting rid of the coach changes your quarterback play? Like, I know Mike Tomlin isn't out there looking for, Joe Burrow at quarterback to play that style of offense, but I guarantee you they'd take Joe Burrow if he was available to them.
Yeah, they would.
So, like, that's not the issue. It's if you're saying you want to get rid of Mike Tomlin because you want a full reset and you want to crater the organization so that you have a chance at a top 5 pick, okay, but I'm telling you right now, boy, does it suck, especially where culturally you are an organization that has had 3 coaches in, 60 years?
Well, and I think it's the stupidest thing that our media does is they sit there and they try to find these storylines. This is not it.
No.
This isn't it. Like, you want to go ahead and say, what did the Steelers need to do? Moving Mike Tomlin isn't...
It's not even on the list.
And why even bring it up? Do you understand what the Rooney family is? How they operate? They're not going to move on from a head coach right now, and because they're sitting there saying, this is the least of our worries.
Yes.
Right
now, it's not even a worry.
The last thing that we need to worry about is our head coach. The number 1 thing is our quarterback. The number 2 thing would be our offensive coordinator. Is there a little bit of truth to the fact that he doesn't have a lot of guys that are on his staff that go on to be head coaches? Yeah, he has that. But also, it's Pittsburgh, and they have all of their assistants are there because they want to be Pittsburgh guys, too. The grass isn't always greener. Not everybody wants to be a head coach. To nitpick like his coaching tree because all they do is win and don't have losing seasons, all right, go ahead and do that at your own peril. But I would love to have a guy who has the ability to keep a staff around him for a really long time. Is maybe he too loyal to guys like Matt Canada? Yeah, a little bit. But he also got rid of Matt Canada, too.
Eventually. It happened.
Yep.
Speaking of crazy and the crazy adjacent, Deontay Johnson has now been thrown off his 4th team in the same calendar year. Same season, not calendar year, because we are on a new calendar year.
You know the only guy in Mike Tomlin's coaching tree? Bruce Arians.
Really?
Yeah.
Who? Pretty good coach.
That is the only coach that is coached under Mike Tomlin to go on to be a head coach.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's really weird. The only one is Bruce Arians.
Smith doesn't count?
Arthur Smith?
Yeah.
No.
Wasn't he an OC there?
Mm-mm. He is now.
He is now.
Oh, I thought he was before.
Mm-mm. Yeah. I
That's
just looked that up and
really.
I went to.
Does he elevate other assistant coaches because they're not good enough?
I don't know.
Or they just stay that long?
Yeah, Arthur Smith, his NFL was Washington, Tennessee, and then Atlanta and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had him wrong. It was Tennessee.
The only one.
A lot of his coaches are older. That
they are.
Tomlin goes and hires.
Yeah, because it's guys that are really good coaches that they're not the young, innovative guy, but they know a lot of football and like to.
Who was the ancient guy that was their
People-
DC for years?
People that are Dick LeBeau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
He had a walker out
the
there.
Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a walker out there. That's
Yeah.
his coaching tree.
But to sit there and be like, yeah, they're not doing it right. Are they? Are they really not doing it right? Because I feel like they're doing a pretty good job of what they got going on there. I feel like they've kind of nailed it. Dick LeBeau, dead or alive?
Alive.
He's alive.
Alive.
There you go.
Still
he's
ancient.
old.
Born September 9th, 1937.
Wow.
He's 87 years old. In London.
Jolly old London?
No, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
I
I was saying,
why is he in London?
Well, no, yeah, like 37.
He was born in London.
My man got out at the right time.
Born in London, Ohio.
Did something important happen in the 30s?
No.
Nah.
The 40s?
Also, no.
The whole city definitely wasn't rebuilt 10 years later.
Is it the 80th anniversary of something important? An Easy Company?
No.
Boy, I'm looking at this and it's amazing. Like, I don't even see. Usually, when you see like an 87-year-old, it's like, well, you know, maybe he was in Korea, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. He has no service to his name. That's crazy. You'd think that he'd served at some point.
Oh, he didn't.
1987, no. Or no, 1937, he was born. No.
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah, right? I don't see anything here. All right. Well, Dick LeBeau. That's talking Dick LeBeau.
Well, again, Steelers adjacent. Deontay Johnson, fourth team in the same season. How insane is that? Like, every team talked themselves into it because it's not like this isn't a talent issue because he's talented.
Yeah.
To play for four franchises and for four franchises to be like, nah, dog, you're not worth the crazy.
Yeah. Seeing Daniel Jones in a uniform yesterday, you're like, well, there's a lot of different things that, you know, maybe if you need him as an emergency, he can do it. But with Deontay Johnson, so what are the four teams that he was on this year?
You had
Pittsburgh, obviously.
Yeah, Pittsburgh,
Carolina,
Houston, Carolina, and
Baltimore.
Okay. And think about that. You've three very functional franchises.
Yeah, I think.
And then one.
With the playoffs, in the way that the playoffs work, especially, is like if guys start getting healthy, you take a look and you're like, all right, this may not be he's just completely wackadoodle. It's he doesn't have a good enough grasp on our offense because he hasn't been here long enough, and we have guys coming back, maybe getting healthier, and so the roster moves and transactions. But with a guy that talented, they usually stick around for at least a playoff run.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not like the Texans couldn't use him. They're not getting Diggs back.
Nope. But other positions, you only have so many spots
That's
that you
true.
can have, and so guys that you can use.
And Nico's back and looking
Nico's
great.
back. Tank Dell.
No, not Tank. Because Tank's leg.
You're thinking of
Mechie.
Mechie.
His leg went.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mechie. Yeah, Tank's leg.
Cancer
went.
survivor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Tank's leg went the wrong way.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, dislocated kneecap.
Dalton Schultz too.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, because they were
Dalton
running
Schultz.
their other tight ends.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I forgot C.J. Stroud cried.
yeah, it's best friend, man.
I still don't hold that against
I
C.J.
don't.
Stroud.
It's your best friend, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you knew immediately, and you know he felt guilty for like putting him in that position.
I mean,
He
it's not
shouldn't,
his
but
fault,
like that's I think it's a natural
I
feeling.
think that leg was about to go.
So, all right. When we come back, we'll put a nice little bow on today's show with the dumbest text message. I love a good criminal story that just has the dumbest possible ending. Like this woman, Octavia Wells, who thought she was sending a text message to her drug dealer. Instead, it was a undercover investigator who she texted to purchase fentanyl from before she left town.
Okay, wait a minute.
Mhm.
How do you undercover detective She just did she go to
one number off kind of a deal? It said a woman was arrested after accidentally texting a sheriff's department's investigator instead of the drug dealer she was trying to contact.
Oh, so it wasn't undercover. It was just an accidental to a detective hey.
Yeah, this was the person who ultimately would have been arresting her regardless.
Oh boy.
Was the person she accidentally texted.
Boy, if that's not some bad luck, I don't know what is there. And what was it? Hello, sir. May I get that fentanyl from you today?
So she shows up at the Sting at a gas station, and they bust her for, here's a fun one, unlawful use of a two-way communication device. What, is there a lawful communication use of a one-way device?
Or maybe she was just spamming to everybody in the community, hey,
just
leaving town. Anybody got some? Just text everybody.
555-1234, 555-1235. Just going through all of the versions.
I think that's probably a reasonable explanation there. And how lucky is it for that investigator that he is one number off from a drug dealer, if that's the case?
I know. I mean, this is going up to the Rainbow Trout Farm. I did that as a kid. So there's the Rainbow Trout Farm pond. No. I didn't fish in that. There's a stocking pond that is the size of it's maybe 6 feet across, and there's 500 fish. They can't move. Basically, there's a tube that they go through to get into the actual pond. I fished in that.
Oh.
That's essentially what this cop did.
Yeah. I went to a trout farm and I didn't catch a fish.
Really? That seems kind of impossible.
Yeah, right?
On Mount Hood or a different one?
It's bad bait, dude.
No, I think it was out in North Plains.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was young, but I remember just being well, that was not fun. Everybody else just catching fish left and right around me.
Just slamming lines all over you.
What is going on here?
I mean, this cop didn't go catch and release, but yeah, they got her for
holy smokes,
unlawful use of a two-way communication device, possession of drug paraphernalia, and driving with a suspended license.
Yikes!
So she was driving out of town with a suspended license and wanted her fentanyl.
That actually all tracks.
Mm-hmm.
That does track. That's a tough way to go down if you're Octavia.
Octavia.
Yeah. All right. Well,
named after the Caesar.
I don't think so.
You mean Octavius?
That would be the female version of Octavius. Yes,
Yeah.
Octavia.
Named after though, loosely based on.
Look at the big